Well, hey everybody, Nick Slavic here, proprietor of the Nick Slavic Painting and Restoration Company. I'm also the host of this show, Ask a Painter Live. It's a weekly live Facebook show where I use my over 2 decades of experience as a business owner and a craftsperson to answer your questions. Today we have a very special show. I just got back from Boston and Rhode Island, and I attended ZK Finishing School, the inaugural event. And I got a whole bunch of pictures and a whole bunch of videos and things to share with you here. But first, I want to thank the PCA, the Painting Contractors Association. Lots of fun stuff is going on at the PCA. There's forums, there's all the free content they have. They've relaunched a bunch of new media, podcasts, there's Torlando involved, there's other people involved. I would urge you guys to go and get content from the PCA. They give so much back to the industry. There's a link in there to either join or to go to the website. It's all there for you guys. So thank you to the PCA for being sort of a mission upholder of the industry, which we're trying to do. And speaking of that, Zach Kenney, a good friend of mine, almost everybody knows Zach Kenney, ZK Finishing, one of the most popular guys on Instagram as far as the craft goes. He put on ZK Finishing School, and it was an awesome time. So I'm going to take you guys through my entire weekend. I spent almost 3 days out there. Gerardo, how's it going, man? Peter, my friend from Australia. Thanks so much, guys. So I'm not going to waste any of your time here. We're going to jump right into some pictures and stuff like that. Let me share my screen with you guys. If you guys have any questions about ZK Finishing School, I attempted to put a link in this show for you to go to the Instagram account. You have to email Zach. You have to write a bio, and you have to write why you want to go to the finishing school. It is a sort of a select kind of thing. It's not this elitist bunch of people, but you have to have a base of knowledge. And you have to have this love of craft and things like that to go with it. So it'll be there for you guys. Oh, Pedro from Ecuador. How's it going, man? All right, so let's get this stuff going here. Share my screen. I got a whole Google Drive full of this stuff here I'm going to share with you guys. So night number 1, I got there, and Zach was nice enough to take me to something that was really cool. There's a heavy, thick Italian population there in Rhode Island, and we went to this quarter where they blocked off the street. There's people walking around. There's a guy singing Frank Sinatra. He took me to this really quiet, dark, beautiful joint where we had some great food. And of course, one of their signature dishes for 30 or 40 years was many pounds of lobster, at least one lobster. There's scallops, there's everything else baked into this champagne butter dish. I mean, insane stuff. I can't thank him enough. And obviously the food is fine, but the conversation is just unbelievable. If you have never talked to Zach, he is one of the most open, honest guys in the industry. I urge you, get in touch with him. He is a giver to this industry and one of the brightest minds we have. So after that, I did something very interesting, which was I asked Zach very pointedly, I said, all right, Zach, listen, we're in your shop. This is the candy store for craftspeople around the country. Do I have your permission to basically sneak around, film what I want, look at what I want, and post all this stuff to the internet? Not even hesitation. Of course. So what I did, I made a series of videos, if you guys haven't seen them, on Instagram and Facebook called Sneaking Around Zach Kenney's Shop. Peter, his work's amazing. That mirror finish he does is amazing. Reminds me of my dad's work years ago. Absolutely, yeah, it's amazing to watch him, and his guys too are absolutely amazing. So again, this is kind of video number 1. I saw a toolbox, nice, organized, exactly what you would expect from Zach and all his craftspeople. We'll look at some of his sanding stuff. He's got everything beautifully organized here. It's a well-oiled shop. Everybody takes pride in it. The thing that you're going to find the most, there might be some things that you don't recognize here. What those are going to be is some automotive stuff. Zach, because he finishes to such a high point, and he does so much interesting stuff, there's a lot of automotive stuff in there. So like you can see the Merca Auto stuff right here. Me and one of his craftspeople, Dan, were comparing all the 3M Purple stuff, the Cubitron, the Merca Abranet versus the AutoNet and all this other stuff. And of course, the tapes. He's got the full range of the automotive tapes and everything else. Complexity, it's beautiful. Now, I'm known for simplicity, you know. I try to have 1 tape in my company, maybe 2 if we go wild. But Zach dwells in complexity. He's saying, you know, we've already done this. We can do this very well. How are we going to do it even better? Is there an interesting way? Is there something else? And yeah, it's just wonderful to see all the things that he's trying. A lot of automotive stuff, crossovers. And you can see this is his spray booth here. And sorry, I got some farm internet here. It's a little choppy. But, you know, all the fast rack systems, big spray booth. I believe it's from Global Finishing out of Wisconsin. I think they're the distributor. I can't remember the name brand of it. Let's see what else we got here. But it's beautiful to see. The spray booth is a marvel. It is a fully enclosed thing. It's got all the lights. He's got the protective spray on it. It's got heater. It's got downdraft. It's got everything in there. It's just a beautiful, beautiful thing. And we were messing around with the heater. Let's see if I can find a video of that. We were messing around with the heater. Zach turned it on, and we got in there because we were trying to figure out how fast this thing heated up. And I think within about 5 seconds, it got to about 130 degrees in there. It is no joke. So that was him adjusting the temperature controls on the outside there. I'll go through all my videos here. Downdraft sanding table. This was really cool. I enjoyed the heck out of this. And this is one of those things where I've seen all manners of homemade versions of this. This is a beautiful example of high-powered, running off 220. You can see the big cord here. It's got a series of filters right there. You don't have to vent it outside. He's got the lights on there. This is a specially, I mean, this is a dude, the one piece of interest that I saw, or the one thing that I took home, like you as a craftsperson, I understand gloss oil. Tons of prep, tons of primer, flatten, get rid of dust, this and that. I didn't know the extent to which dust vexes Zach Kenney and his craftspeople. They actually have to wipe down their plastic, their suits, their things with anti-static wipes because static will attract dust. And on a black high gloss finish, it's a killer. Let's see. Lots of things I don't recognize. Yeah, it's a different way of doing business, Nick May. Let's see. Jerry, how's it going? Oh, Morgan. Yes, Morgan and Torlando are putting out some awesome, awesome, awesome content with the PCA. Do not sleep on her. She is one of the most insane minds in the industry. And if you don't know Morgan, I would urge you to talk to her. When you're digging through those toolbox drawers, I'm hoping for something scandalous. No, I mean, maybe he would keep the severed fingers of all his apprentices who didn't make the cut or something. But honestly, beautifully kept, everything clean, organized. It's just awesome. Jason, my man from Minnesota here. I think it's probably a spray booth or a kiln, honestly. I mean, I don't know if you could bake clay. You can certainly bake cabinet doors. So, but yeah, downdraft table is a beautiful thing. This is a thing where you can sand cabinets and you're not going to be dust free, but all the dust is going to go down through the table and into filters. It won't go into your shop, and it's one more step in dust free, because if you have dust even in the carpet of this shop and you walk by, you're going to go like this. And one of the things that Phil, one of his most talented craftspeople, told me is that take one of these big lights like I have here illuminating me, hold your sleeve above your arm and do this in the light, you know, with the raking light. You will just see clouds of tiny little fibers going everywhere. So let's find another one here. So this is one of the first things I saw walking into the shop. Beautiful gloss door, and black is an insanely high level too. Zach told me, and his craftspeople told me, white will make you look like a hero. Black will make you look like you just started, because black shows all the dust, and white will hide a little bit of that stuff. So, all right, let's see, another shot of his kind of prep room here. You can see the Mirka and the Festool with the racks and the hoses and the guards perfectly laid out. This kind of stuff is a dog whistle to me. I love the cleanliness, the light, the beautiful, everything laid out nice. I mean, what you didn't see is a 50,000 square foot facility with robots and all this other stuff and money wasted in areas. He spent the money and the time on the places that actually give him a return in the prep stuff and the finishing areas like that. All right, moving on. So inside his spray booth, you'll see a number of sort of really specialized sort of items here. What are they focused on? Alex. So Zach does ultra high end, the highest of the high end interior and exterior finishing, probably mostly interior. You can certainly tag Zach in this. He can hop on and start talking too, but he does high end stuff. It is really amazing. So this here is sort of a air assisted airless sprayer. So lots of technology in Zach's shop. If I understand all this stuff right, this is basically an air-assisted airless sprayer, but it's sort of a insanely beautiful Ferrari version of it with no lags, with no dead spots. A lot of times with an air-assisted airless sprayer, when you have all the units with the conventional air compressor mounted to an airless, when that thing cycles, the pressure will bump up and down. Or when even the air compressor goes, it cycles, you kind of have little differences in the spray. With this is actually a machine that's run off of compressed air. So you have an air compressor, you run a line to this, the air compressor runs the pump, the actual airless pump. You can see the hopper here where you put your stuff in, and then it also adds a little air at the end of it. So here's the beautiful gun down here. Like the general idea is with air-assisted airless, you can bring your fluid pressure down to about 400 to 700 PSI. So in a standard airless sprayer, you're probably at least 15, maybe even 2,800, give or take. And you're just making a whole bunch of overspray dust and everything else. With this, you bring it down to 400 to 700, and it's so beautifully made and sophisticated. You just give it a little puff of air at the end, a little bit of CFM, and it's just, and you want the atomization. The finer you atomize this stuff, the smoother finish you're going to have. So this is just one way of doing it. Wagner and Titan make another one. Graco makes, I think they make the Merkers, things like that. There's all manners of this stuff that you can do. And this gives you beautiful, steady power. It's like a very, very powerful car that runs beautiful at a nice low RPM, give or take. And infinite adjustability. I mean, you can take on this gun down here, there's actually a digital readout on the handle where you can say, I want 43, PSI or whatever else coming out of there. So it's infinitely adjustable. So you can track your records and data, which I love too, and keep track of your finishes. Alex, absolutely, man. Todd, yes. I think somebody told me that you actually sent the email to apply for the school while I was down there. So I was like, oh, Minnesota guy, I know him. That's awesome. So I hope you get a chance, man. Do what you can to get there. Yeah, finishing shop. You can see the filters down here. He's got a whole bunch of really cool racking equipment that they use in different ways. And this is a really good sort of like mix of all that stuff. You can see standard cabinet racking, kind of trim racking, but used for cabinets with wire hung between, some floor racking, some big door and racking like that. And yeah, really creative use of space in there. It's in shop spaces. I can speak from sort of experience. They're never big enough, so you got to get really creative with the stuff you do. So, all right, yep, spray area there. And what I love too is he's got his roll of craft paper in the corner, and so you pull some down, test your pattern, pull some down, test your pattern, and keep moving instead of spraying against the side of the spray booth there. So. Gratuitous shot of me sneaking around in the dark, taking pictures of stuff. More spray booth pictures. If you guys have any questions, you can pop them here. I can always tag Zach in this thing too. And when I go through BeLive, I can't really tag people. I even got to get in there and do the website and stuff after. So if you guys want to tag him, he'll see this stuff. All right, Aaron, yes, going there in October, man. I hope you can go there with Todd. That'd be awesome. I would love to see your guys' perspective with all that stuff. All right, so you can see downdraft table with Zach wearing his awesome iBrush Elkin shirt, and craftsperson Dan putting up the big light like that. Beautiful, beautiful downdraft table. Oh, let's see here. Next one. Another picture of one of his beautiful gloss doors when you come in like that. I mean, black is just, it's stunning. And the richness of that stuff is just insane. So we got a little, got a little air compressor, got some filters and stuff on the outside of the booth. Gerardo, yeah, probably ruined the finish with your flash, right, man? These finishes are really tough, but man, you got to keep dust off those suckers. That's just insane. Let's see what else we got here. I think we got a picture of the sanding stuff. Yep. Trying to add value. The brushing. So I got a sneak peek at the brushing process from craftsperson Phil. And what's interesting is that this is a door that's been primed and sanded in kind of a quick and dirty SVT sandbag attack, for the class. I think they would probably about 4 more days of prep on a door like that. But
so again,
one bit of perspective that I like, and I've only brushed fine paints in Europe
These
before.
brushes don't
I've not sprayed it, and the spraying was really illuminating about what you thin, what you're looking for, the atomization, things like that. The brushing was really interesting because I grew up in a world where you could buy oil wall paint, and you would just put it on with a brush and a roller, no big deal. You treat it like paint, it just happened to be oil. When you do something like this, the paint it covers really well, but you have to be so delicate with it. What you're not doing, the bit of perspective I learned about this is when you're brushing fine paints in Europe, Brilliant 98, Hollow Black, what you don't do is flood it all on and then tip it off. What you're basically doing is, I have a surface, I'm going to take my brush, I'm going to lay a layer of gloss on, and I'm going to leave it alone. And then I'm going to walk over to the next part, lay a layer of gloss on, and it's a very delicate process. So what you're not doing is kind of getting it on there, covering it up, and then laying it off like that. You don't want to mess with it. There's a big difference between getting it on there, working it around, adjusting it, blending it, this like that, or just laying it on and just letting it be. And that was really good perspective because I didn't know. I've been watching Zach and Phil's and everybody's videos about brushing this gloss stuff, and they were so delicate and deliberate with their strokes. I wanted to know if that was for the camera or if that was sort of a real life sort of thing. And it was a real life sort of thing for sure. All right. So we got some more of his supplies here.
Does this function?
Lots of fine paints of Europe, lots of all sorts of crazy stuff going on there. It's kind of fun to walk through. You know, the Malaysia is there. You've got the Klima all over the place. They're messing around with those cans. Quite a stock. I mean, this dude's got quite a little library of coatings in there, and it's fun to go through all the colors. Favorite one of the weekend was Fine Paints of Europe, Holland Black Brilliant 98 in Purple Rain, which is one of the most stunning purples I've ever seen there. So, all right. Yeah, it was pretty dang amazing. It was pretty amazing. Miscellaneous supplies, nice and neat. He makes the most out of every space in this thing, and yeah, very neatly organized. Everybody's on board with it. Just beautiful to watch. Some more videos. Dan and Phil doing some final prep. You can see that I think they're actually using automotive sandpaper, and they are in there getting every little bit. And I love something that I preach to my own apprentices is 100% whatever you're doing. If 100% coverage, 100% sanding, 100% backing, 100% tacking, whatever you do, you can't miss the corners. You can't miss the weird little spots. You got to do it all. And these guys were an exemplary sort of version of that. I mean, you can tell that this is something that they feel deeply. So, oh, this is his trailer here. They just unloaded a job and they're bringing it all back to the site, so you can see some of their prep stuff there. Yeah, beautifully organized. Oh, here's the Merca setup. I love this. I love it, and I love it with the rack too. So everything's right at like chest or waist level, which is really cool. A lot of the times I go onto job sites, I see everybody's stuff laid out on the floor. And as a craftsperson, you know, your knees are everything, and back and hips and things. And every time you need a tool, you're going down on a knee or you're down crawling around getting something. When I lay out job sites, we just started like about a 5 or 6 week long interior repaint. And I brought 3 folding tables to my people. 2 of them are about, you know, belly button height. And one of them is your standard, you know, 30 to 34 inches, give or take. And it's so nice to have your gear, the most used gear, up there like that. And it was good to see that here as well. You can tell everything is ergonomic. People are going to do better work when things are laid out really well. This is a really cool sort of like, there's all sorts of little technology. There's only basically 2 or 3 different kinds of ways to spray. You know, there's airless, there's HVLP, and there's sort of conventional. Conventional just being compressed air, which you see in cup guns and things. And there's a whole bunch of weird interplays between those things. Like this here is kind of it's a little bit of an air-assisted unit because some air pressure goes through the gun, and then a little bit of air pressure goes to actually pressurize the pot too. So in essence, you're kind of getting pressurized fluid, pressurized air, which would kind of be your your air-assisted airless sort of thing. It's kind of it's a unique thing, but this is a simpler, more kind of portable version of like those Kremlins and things like that. So, but fun to watch Zach operate. And again, this is, people were sending me lots of messages about what's the tape for? What's the tape for? A lot of this stuff is weird automotive stuff. And so I would just, the basic idea is there's delicate stuff, there's painter's tape, and there's high tack stuff. And then there's some things in between that do that. But yeah, I've seen them use a lot of the purple stuff, which is kind of a delicate, and a lot of green as well. Here's Zach. He gave a really good talk about negative air machines, air scrubbers, positive air, things like that. And again, when dust is your nemesis, you have to booth out a room. They call it the booth, what I call, my surgical suite. And basically, it's an attempt to get rid of the dust, get rid of the odor, and not contaminate the job site, not contaminate the things you're working on. And in a lot of the architectural stuff that we use when we're using emerald trim urethane or Scuff X or things like that, it's a very forgiving finish. It's beautiful. It dries quick. We don't have problems with dust. But when you have gloss black oil that stays wet a long time, you just got to be careful with it, man. And, big air scrubbers like this that have HEPA filters in them, air movers like this, which everybody's familiar with. We got a bunch too. And then kind of portable air scrubbers like this. And it's all just an interplay between getting fresh air into the job site, bad air out, dust in, dust out. Can you vent it outside? Can you only vent it in the site? I mean, so many things, but great talk and great perspective on that as well. They showed us a lot of those Kremlins take a lot of air compression. And a lot of the times, Zach uses 2 or 3 air compressors on site, gangs them together in order to get the CFM, the cubic feet per minute of air into those sprayers and things like that. Little cheat codes into the tape here, if you guys are interested in stuff like that. Yep, I had to see what kind of filtration was down below here. Just beautiful filters you can take out and clean, stuff like that. I love that. And that's something like that is definitely going in my new shop here when we're getting ready to move in. So Zach was showing us the difference between HVLP and sort of standard air things, and it's all has to do with the little nozzles in here. HVLP is high volume, low pressure, and sort of conventional or standard spraying is really just a lot of compressed air. You get a lot of like that. You get a lot of volume of air coming out, and it atomizes really well. The HVLP has a high volume of sort of liquid and a high volume of air, but at a lower pressure. Like the hoses are bigger and everything, and just different ways to spray. One is not better or worse by far than the other ones. You can see we're getting set up for a demo with Phil here. Phil was kind of running us through some of the fine paints here. But I love Phil, man. I've been following him on Instagram for a while, and absolutely love the guy. Fun. He's got great perspective too. He's a guy who really breaks himself for the craft. Oh man, Stevie, thanks a lot, man. I appreciate that. So this was cool. One of the things, I used to be a mechanic in a previous life. I used to really enjoy mechanics. I actually used to do it for a living for a little bit. And people who have done mechanics will understand that this is a parts cleaner. It's got some solvents here that do not evaporate, that are actually not that bad on your hands, but they clean up all of our solvent-based paint really well. And he's got this beautiful setup where it's economical. He's not wasting thinner. He's not pouring it down the drain. He cleans out all his solvent-based stuff here, and that is something that is no duh. I have experience with this. I've done this before. Why wouldn't I get one for my own shop? So I think that's one of the things that's definitely coming in our shop. And there's services that actually come and recycle this stuff for you and service the units. That's really cool. Really cool. All right, what else we got here? More gratuitous brushing videos. This stuff is insanely satisfying to my soul, and many for you as well. Laying out gloss black oil, but you can see the intentionality that Phil puts this stuff on with, and he picks the right brush, the right size, lays it on. And I got a little choppy internet because I got the farm internet going here, but you kind of get the general idea where he's very intentional. He works in a new area, and he just barely works it back into the old stuff.
And then I'll do the styles afterwards.
Oh man, it's just
time permitting.
so
sometimes you have
satisfying
to do it all at once, but if you have
so satisfying. laying it on. And I love what he does too. If you can hardly see it here, but there's some of that purple delicate tape. And he actually tapes off one of the rails to get a nice clean line so he doesn't get a bunch of weird brush marks on the other end, and goes around the rails and stiles, come back, and then works that little area in after he pulls the tape and finishes it off. Beautiful, beautiful stuff. Let's see. All right, let's do, oh, and of course, one of me brushing the oil. I was just kind of blending that corner in right there. Super, super satisfying stuff to do. Here's Zach mixing up the special brew. Putting it into one of those automotive cup guns, which is really brilliant, because when you're doing, doors and things like that, you don't need to fill up the Kremlin or the Airless or anything else with all that stuff. You can just fill up, a cup gun, and it works amazingly well. So you can see here's Zach. This is one of my favorite pictures of the weekend here. Zach is showing us the atomization, testing out the spray patterns of the guns. He's just kid in a candy store in here, man. It's just so cool. Then you can see, there is, come on, Farm Internet, keep up with me. So he's showing us, you can see here's the digital readout on there, and he's holding the trigger down to let air out. See if I can get some, yeah, like that. And he's actually adjusting this in real time and seeing the digital readout on that gun. That is insane. The level of acute dialed inness you can get is just amazing. And he was showing us how to adjust the patterns. And the one thing I will tell you about these automotive systems, these super high-end, sort of like conventional spray rigs, is the atomization is amazing. The droplets are so small and so fine, and we can do an insane job with our Airless and FFLP tips and HEA tips, but the amount of atomization is just insane on these things. And obviously the super fine ground paint, sort of, it has something to do with it, but also the fineness of the spray equipment and his knowledge is just really, really amazing stuff. And he's showing us how you can test it out, and there is actually, you test to see if you have even drips. You try to make it fail on the paper, and if it all drips down even your spray patterns, that's what he was kind of demonstrating here. So, and one of the coolest things, internally I cheer inside, and you can tell the mark of a true craftsperson when they teach you how to spray a cabinet door or a small square or something like that. You can tell a craftsperson, and this is a sort of super sneaky insider tip. I'm going to stop this right here. Let me just pause this guy. So you have a cabinet door like this. If you see somebody who, if you have your spray pattern here, let's say the tip of my mouse, that arrow, is the center of the spray pattern. If they come here and do a stripe across like that, you could argue they're not a craftsperson. They haven't been doing this long enough. The mark of a true craftsperson is you center that spray pattern so half the spray goes off the cabinet door, half the spray goes on, and your first pass is always there, because we know the center of your spray pattern is always going to be a little more concentrated than the outside. And if you start your spray pattern one full length inside like this, you're going to have a nice sort of start right here, but you're going to have 60% coverage right there. So you start here and you do a half pass, full passes back and forth like this, and then you end it with another half pass like that. So if you ever see somebody do that, take note, that's a craftsperson. That's somebody who's done this a lot. And unprovoked, Zach Kenney, one of the first things he said was, "Hey guys, you have to do a half pass right away." And I thought, yeah, baby, this guy's good. I like Zach. Another reason I like Zach. Nothing fake about that dude, man. I like that a lot. So showing us atomization here against the white wall, and he's showing us where on this pattern you can see the paint break. And there's a part where 8 to 12 inches out, perfect atomization, and then you can see it get cloudy and chunky over here. It billows too much, the air catches it, and it doesn't have an even pattern after that. So kind of interesting to see, on this different spray equipment, how it's all done like that. Very, very interesting experience. One of the things that I'll go down as one of the more interesting things I've ever done is spray fine paints in Europe in front of Zach Kenney, in front of my friend Jake Turner from Texas, who is a master craftsperson, and the owner of Fine Paints of Europe, John Leahy. And listen, I don't doubt that I can do it, but it certainly raises the risk level and the difficulty level a little bit when the owner of Fine Paints of Europe is watching you spray his product in one of the most state-of-the-art spray booths in front of two of the best craftspeople in the country. So it's an interesting experience. I'm glad to say I've had it. So this is the door, I believe that this is the door that I sprayed with, this is over white primer. This is Fine Paints of Europe primer, oil primer. And what you'll notice is it is jet black. They can get their primer tinted cherry red, royal blue, hunter green, black, all that stuff. And it's a super thick bodied primer, super fine ground pigments. And it goes on, you can put it really thick, it hangs, it clings, there was no drips, no sags, and it goes on orange peely, it levels out, but the purpose of this is to be able to sand it, and it's always gonna have a little bit of texture to it, but it sands like marble. It's just beautiful, beautiful stuff. And generally when they do a gloss, they'll do 3 to 5 prime coats like that, sanding in between, 2400, all that other stuff. And you know, the primers are there not to be perfect, they're there to be a wear layer like that, but I couldn't believe it. Jet black primer over white, one super thick coat. I mean, that is just, it's a thing of beauty. So awesome, awesome stuff, guys. Yep, there it is. You can see fresh off the gun. I set the gun down and took this, and you can see it's still just starting to just lay. It's just a beautiful, beautiful thing to watch. All right, then there's fill, mask, and cabinets. They do it differently than us. It's awesome to get perspective. I love it. I just love watching Phil work. Very satisfying. You can see he's finishing off a cabinet there, cutting his last bit of tape. Beautiful tight prep. I love the tight prep. Just a beautiful, beautiful thing. There's my buddy Chade, Zach's mixing desk, and you can see this is the highest benchtop I've ever seen in a shop. It's about here. It's because I was seeing Zach repeatedly get down just a little bit like this, 6 inches lower, and look at the levels and the milliliters and the things on the cups. And if this thing was at a 30-inch bench, you'd be bending over all the time on your knees. Again, all you got to do is give it one of these, and you can actually see, because the mixing has to be precise. So again, genius, small thing, but absolutely genius. One of the cool things that I saw as well was sanding paper that went up to 8,000. And I know this stuff exists. I've never seen a painter carry it before. So you can see all the fancy 1,000, 1,200. There's 8,000. 8,000 grit. When you pull one of those things out, it feels like a baby wipe. It is not sandpaper. It is a polishing sort of thing. So truly amazing stuff. I just love to see it. So. And then I had the pleasure of, again, in front of John Leahy, the owner of Fine Paints of Europe, and with Zach's tutelage, me and master craftsperson Chade were spraying some cabinets in there. And yeah, just love the theory of it, love the practice, love, 3 craftspeople getting together and doing what we need to, and sharing experience and adapting our current experience into this new experience. And it's just a really fun thing, and I just love, it is just amazing. So let's see if we got any more questions, digging through the chat here. What type of brushes was he using? You're gonna love this. I think they use like throwaway $2 brushes from like Michael's craft store or something like that. Super fine synthetic bristle brushes, believe it or not. It's really good. Mix in. All right. I think we'll go for, let's see if there was anything from the, yes, we had a beautiful, beautiful dinner in downtown Providence in this historic building. Fine Paints took us all out to dinner, many course meal, fine wine, all that other stuff, and one of the best discussions I've had in a long time about the business and the craft of painting. And it was absolutely wonderful. And of course, love it when shots like that are captured. There's Chade, my buddy from Texas. Awesome story. If you guys have never talked to Chade Turner, man, you got to talk to this guy. It is awesome. But there's me in my power stance spraying the oil. And yeah, guys, what a weekend. I mean, it was just awesome. I can't thank Zach enough for the experience. If you guys are interested, ZK Finishing School is what it's called. It's an unbelievable weekend. I put the link to Instagram in this. If it didn't make it to the feed, I'll get back in there and load it up. Yeah, basically, if you guys want to apply for it, you got to email Zach, you got to give him a bio, and you got to tell him why you want to go. And whatever system he uses to pick people, it was awesome. I met some of the greatest people I knew from the internet. There was a 20-year-old employee of a painting company who's deep into the craft. There's business owners, there's craft people, there's young, there's old, there's all sorts of stuff. Painters from Alabama and Florida, which I never talked to, like lots of people from Seattle, Chicago, California, New York, the Upper East Coast and things. But I never run into painters from like Alabama and Florida. I know you're down there. I met 2 guys and it was awesome there. So there's even a remodeler there who's deep into paint finishing and doing that too. So I would urge you to check out not only Zach Kenney, ZK Finishing School, and if you do a search on Instagram for ZK anything, almost all of his craftspeople are on there with their own pages too. So look for Phil, look for Dan, look for Hollis, and everybody else in the company there. It's absolutely wonderful to watch these people, and they're up to the craft here. So, Stevie Jones, what would you advise for a starter spray setup? Honestly, what I would do is I would get a Titan 440 or a Graco 395. Yeah, 390, 395, whatever you can get in there. But honestly, they're $700 or $800. Maybe 900 if you get them off sale, and they will last you your entire lifetime. People always try to find, yeah, but my budget's only 200. Yeah, but I might try HVLP. Yeah, but I might do this and that. I'm not kidding you. If you spend $850 on one of those like basic but supremely beautiful airless spraying units, you'll have that the rest of your life. You'll be able to spray roofing coatings, drywall, fine finishes, oil, water, hybrids, wall paint, ceiling paint, anything. I've been told my entire life, you can't do this with this sprayer. You shouldn't do this with this sprayer. I've had sprayers for a decade where I've done all the things that I'm not supposed to do, and all I do is clean them out well, and they're beautiful, they work. Best dollar for dollar return you ever get. There are $250 or $300 versions of airless sprayers out there. They are good too, but they don't have the life. The way we use them, in about a year, we use them up and we have to throw them away. So again, $850 for at least a decade. I mean, I'm assuming we can get 2 decades out of most of these sprayers. I've even had sprayers for a decade before I've even repacked them, just cleaned them out. Or $250 or $300 for a year. And I would say it is an investment, but by God, invest in yourself. If this is the craft you love, spend $850. How many stupid things have we spent $850 on? You and another person go out to dinner, each have a drink, $85. 10 of those meals and you get a sprayer for a decade. It's just an easy thing. So Stevie, I would always do that. HVLP is fine too, but you can only spray certain things and you have to water everything down or thin everything. So I would definitely go for the airless. You can do anything you want. So, all right, everybody, that's it for me. It's not Friday. I did a late edition because I traveled all weekend and I really wanted to spend some intentional time with my family Monday. So thanks, everybody. We have an insanely special event happening this Friday. Last year, you guys will know that Chris Mole of Mr. Mole's Painting, Ryan and Danny Turry of Headwaters Painting in the cities, they brought their entire companies down. They joined me on a project. We did the project. We donated all our time, and then we donated all the money to a local veterans organization down here. This Friday, they have agreed to do it again, and this time we are restoring a whole bunch of buildings on a farm. We're going to try to do it all in a day. Be prepared for live videos, for footage, for everything else. And we are going to donate all the money to Jacob Babcock. And if you guys do not know who Jacob Babcock is, do an internet search for Sherwin-Williams store manager Jacob Babcock. He's a store manager here in the Twin Cities who was being a good Samaritan, heard a ruckus out in the parking lot, went out to go help somebody, and was shot. And he is recovering. And we are going to donate all the proceeds of this to him and his family for upholding what we do in the industry. So it's a great cause. Sherwin's donating tons and tons of paint. There will be some sprayer stuff there. And actually, my production manager, one of them, Justin, is bringing his barbecue food truck. So if nothing else, we're going to have a great day of barbecue, fellowship. We're going to donate to a good cause. So weather right now looks okay. We'll see. It's Minnesota in September, so it could snow. But either way, be looking for that Friday. I'll be doing an Ask a Painter live from there as well. Any of you guys want to join in, and it would be great. I love projects like this because this is an indication of the new breed of contractors out there where my dad and his friends may have done something like this. Didn't happen a lot. There's an old sort of, I keep my secrets to myself, everybody's competition. mentality of contractors out there. This is an indication where we are not that. We regularly give each other leads. We regularly collaborate. They give me examples of their SOPs and what they do in their company, and likewise, I give some of them. This is a world where you're only held back by your own ability to execute your business plan, as a wise and powerful person in our industry once said. And I truly believe that. And I'm willing to help any contractor in the United States because I love this craft deeply, and I only want to see people do good for the sake of doing good for clients. So, all right, everybody. Chade, you're the man. Awesome meeting you. I got your stickers all over my shop. My kids have your Turner painting stickers all over their water bottles. It's fun. So, all right, everybody. Thanks again. Thanks to the PCA for underwriting this stuff. They help bring this show to you guys every week. It's a free thing. It will always be free. And that's the reason we get to do it, because we have awesome underwriters. So thanks, everybody. And yeah, have a great week. We'll see you in like 3 days.